David Dimbleby's guests include leader of the Liberal Democrats Paddy Ashdown and Shadow Foreign Secretary Robin Cook. Before that, on BBC One, Nick Ross and Jill Dando appeal for your help in this month's Crimewatch UK.
Good evening, Thursday night, 10 o'clock, Crimewatch, live as always. Tonight, the big manhunt in South Wales for the serial attacker there, a well-dressed, well-spoken, apparently charming man who turns on old people with indescribable savagery. We show you details of his movements, how he operates, what he looks like. Someone should surely pin him down tonight. In Greater Manchester, a motorist drove into the middle of an armed robbery. Now, how would you respond if you witnessed a major crime? In the Midlands, a visitor to Britain was abducted by a sex attacker, but someone who has distinctive features. And the worldwide alert for a man who's said to be extremely dangerous.
We start with those violent attacks in South Wales. Now, this is the sort of publicity they've attracted locally, and this gives you an impression of just how serious these offences are. Our reconstruction shows none of this violence, of course, but what it does do is build up a detailed account of him. We hope enough for someone to name him before the reconstruction's over.
The main story this lunchtime, Welsh beef farmers fear a new BSE scare could blight their industry. Welsh beef...
Hello?
I'm awfully sorry, I meant to press number 2. Mrs. Morgan?
Oh, she's moved to the parade.
I wonder if you could write the address down for me, please.
There you are.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Stephen, Mrs. Morgan's nephew. I wonder if I could have a drink of water. I've got a tickle in my throat. It feels just like a feather.
Oh, wait a minute then.
I obviously felt suspicious of him, and that's why I kept watching every move he made.
Do you mind if I use the telephone? I'll reverse the charges.
Oh, all right then.
I was determined I wasn't going to lose my cool and let him think that I was nervous. So I sat as relaxed as he did in the chair opposite.
Engaged. I'm from Worcester. I did live in Cheltenham before that. When I was here last September or October, there was no water in that lake. There were tractors working in there. I used to go swimming about 15 years ago in a pool over there.
He finished the cigarette and left. It was only then she discovered her handbag had been rifled.
Sorry to disturb you, but have some keys been put through your door?
Keys? What keys?
Mine. I was told they were in the first flat.
Ah, well, you might want to be over there. He's in. His umbrella's there. Ring the bell.
I was told it was an elderly woman's flat.
I had a good look at him, and I would think he was be about 5'8". Sallow complexion, quite a bouffant hairstyle. Then I came in here and stood there where I could see him walk right along, knowing that he'd arrived at Enid Poole's flat.
Although Aunt Enid had failing sight, she was able to live in her flat and was able to make a cup of tea, and with support she liked her flat very much.
He was in Enid Poole's flat for less than 10 minutes, in which time he attacked the 90-year-old very severely and left her unconscious.
What's up, Del?
I feel a bit disturbed, Gordon. I've had a funny caller. Can I come in?
Come in.
Would you know him again, though, Dale?
Oh, yes, I had a good look at him. He had a black leather jacket on and some...
Is that him, Del?
That's him, yes.
Yeah. Looks like if he's going somewhere.
Oh, yes.
When I took my class.
A quarter of a mile away, Maya Locher was making her way home from a weekly pensioners' get-together.
I'll take you sure? Take care now. Bye-bye.
My aunt was a retired head teacher, and on that Wednesday afternoon she'd been to the Wednesday Club, which is an offspin of the Town's Women's Guild. She liked to have a little walk, if possible, not every day, but a few times a week.
Hello, Miles. I'm not wearing my hearing aid. Give you a ring later. Bye.
Maya Locher was badly beaten. She too was left unconscious.
We were chatting amongst ourselves again, and then I think it was Gordon said, he's going out.
Yes, that's him. I wonder where he's going now.
And then suddenly he stopped, and he looked at Laurel Court quite slowly, and that was the last we saw.
2 hours later, Mrs. Poole's stolen cash card was used at this bank in Cardiff. 3 attempts were made to withdraw £200. All were unsuccessful.
About 8 o'clock, I had a telephone call from my cousin in Worcestershire, and she asked me, is Aunt Enid all right, or is she ill, or is she out this evening, because I cannot get a reply. So I said, right, I'll try and I'll ring her and see. And then I said to my husband, we must go down straight away and see what's the matter.
When the police arrived, they found Mrs. Poole on the floor. A month later, she's still critically ill. Miss Locher was discovered the next day and is also still in hospital. Wynne Phillips, you're looking for a violent and heartless man here. These were particularly vicious attacks, weren't they?
That's correct. They were brutal attacks on defenceless old women. Luckily, they're both now recovering in hospital.
Now, you have reason to believe that he's struck again since those incidents.
Yes, I believe he has. About a fortnight ago in the Cardiff area, there were some striking similarities to an offence there, which were very, very similar to the Barry jobs.
But no one was hurt?
No one was hurt in that instance.
Now, obviously, we don't want to alarm elderly people living on their own, but they do presumably want to be on their guard as a result of this. What advice do you give?
Well, don't allow strangers into your homes. Seek ID. If you're not sure of people, then ring the police. Ring neighbours, family, friends. If you think police, then call the police.
So, what do we know about him? You have an e-fit.
We know he's about 5'8", 5'10" in height. He's of slim to medium build, dark hair, brushed back and possibly gelled. He's of sallow complexion. On the day in question, he was wearing a black leather jacket and turquoise trousers.
And he seems to have a connection with the area.
I think so. Although he may not be a native of Barry, he seems to know quite a bit about the area. Certainly knew that the lake in the Knapp area of Barry last September, October, had been cleaned, had been drained. He also spoke about swimming in the swimming pool there some years previously. He also spoke about Worcester, Cheltenham. He may know something about those areas.
And in the first scene that we saw, he used a peculiar turn of phrase a couple of times. Let's see it again.
I wonder if I could have a drink of water. I've got a tickle in my throat. It feels just like a feather.
Well, wait a minute then.
just like a feather. It's an unusual thing to say.
It is unusual, and it's unusual in most parts of South Wales, I would think, but somebody must know who uses that type of phrase. If they do, if he fits the description, then please give us a ring, let us know.
Now, we have some items here similar to the ones that he took, the Barclays Connect card.
That's right.
Now, what can you tell us about that?
Well, the name Enid Pool is on that. We've not recovered it. Anybody who's seen that, if anybody's been given that, found it, please contact us.
And something slightly more identifiable, perhaps, is this key fob?
Yes, he certainly locked Mrs. Poole in her home. He took the keys and he took a fob just like that, a lace inset with the letter E.
So this is a B, but it's very similar to this.
Very similar
to
that,
E.
yes. We'd be interested in anybody who may come across that.
Well, Wyn Phillips, thank you very much indeed. Obviously, you're concerned he may strike again, so it's essential, obviously, that he's caught.
Yes.
Well, here's how to help if you do know. Just make that free call, 0500 600 600. Make a note of it, 0500 600 600. It's good for all the cases tonight. Or you can call the incident room in Barry direct. That's on 01446 731 609. That's Barry 731 609.
As a direct result of viewers' calls, police say 3 separate cases are on the brink of being solved from last month's programme, and there's been other progress too. As you may have seen, a man has been arrested for the murder of Karen Skipper, who was found in the River Ely in Cardiff with her hands tied behind her back and her dogs waiting for her on the riverbank. The man charged is her ex-husband. And on the sex attacks involving children in Oldham in Lancashire, a youth was apprehended almost as we went on the air. He's since been charged with 1 rape and 2 attempted rapes. As a result of February's programme, 2 people have been charged with quite serious offences. And 2 days ago, as a result of calls, a man we featured in January gave himself up. He's now been charged with deception. Now, with some quite dramatic pictures, here's Superintendent David Hatcher.
Security cameras have their limitations, and sometimes the details are not always as clear as we would like. But in our first tape there's some compensation. The sound has been recorded too. You might recognise the voices. This is an off-licence in Plaistow in East London on Sunday the 18th of February.
Open the till! Open the till! Open it! Open it! Quick! Right, press it open! Open it! Quick! Move back!
Then, exactly 1 week later, on Sunday the 25th of February, again at 8 p.m, not far away in Stratford, again 2 men, and again a large machete. They force the customers out of the off-licence before trying to steal cash. The offenders are obviously extremely dangerous, and the mask slips. It's not a brilliant image, but ring us here now if you can piece together all of the details. Or call 0181 519 8693. That's 0181 519 8693. Meanwhile, if you're thinking of installing security cameras, try to make sure they'll give images which will identify people. For example, look at these pictures taken at a store called Cash Converters in Chelmsford, Essex. See these 2 young men with the golf bag? They're pretty recognisable. If you know the lads, do ring us. The golf clubs were stolen. And here are those 2 young men again, this time with other stolen goods they were trying to palm off on the shop. All their friends and relatives must recognise them from these pictures, so do give us a call. The local police are on 01245 452 120. That's Chelmsford 452 120.
Now to the attack in Warwickshire on a visitor to this country, an au pair from France who was staying with a family in Leamington Spa, a town without any particular crime problems, but as you'll see, maybe the offender came from somewhere else in Britain. It happened on the last day in February, Thursday the 29th. In what follows, some of the details have been changed to protect the privacy of some of those involved.
Mostly out the Chiltern Railway turbo service between Birmingham and London. I start my shift at Banbury, and I always board the train at the rear and walk through checking tickets. I remember it was an orange ticket, which means it must have been bought from a ticket office outside of London. So someone might have sold him a ticket that Thursday.
This is Leamington Spa. Leamington Spa. The train arriving platform number 2, 1737, Chiltern Railway service to Birmingham Snow Hill. Calling at Warwick, Blackpool, Norwich, Solihull, Birmingham Moor Street, and Birmingham Snow Hill.
I've lived in Leamington for 10 years. I work in Kenilworth, which is near Leamington. I work full-time. While I'm at work, I have an au pair, Estelle, who looks after the children.
Hi. Hi. Hello, Claire. Mummy, Estelle took us to the park and I played on the swings.
Did you?
Yeah. Hello, Mama.
Hello, Annie. How are you? Are you eating your dinner?
Not yet.
Annie, she's elle tousse un peu. Coughing. Have you been coughing?
Estelle and myself get on very well because we're a similar age, and I've been an au pair in France myself. We go out together and we're like sisters. We do a lot of things together. Obviously we can both talk English and French, and we enjoy practicing the language.
Come on, you two. Time to get out of the bath now. Yeah, we have to get out. Okay. Yes.
I left the house at 7:30 and I walked down, and it's about 30 minutes. I was walking on Tashbrook Road to the train station, and I stopped in the traffic light. Then I saw this man. I was walking and I heard some like psst.
Excuse me? Excuse me? Do you have the time, please?
But I didn't hear properly what he said, so cross the road.
It's 8:05.
8:05. Oh, you've got a bit of an accent there. Where'd you come from?
From France.
France? And where are you going now?
To see a friend.
Oh, I see.
Bye.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Have you got a boyfriend?
No. Why do you ask?
I'm just asking, that's all. What's the problem?
I've got to go and see my friend.
You're not going nowhere.
I've got to go
I said you're not going nowhere. You're coming with me.
We were walking and he saw this side. This was really, really dark. So I thought, yeah, I know what is going to happen now. And I was really, really scared now, really.
He threatened Estelle and sexually assaulted her. At first he was intimidating, but then apologetic. Her ordeal lasted half an hour.
That was my last journey of the day, getting into Banbury at 22:29. Anyway, when I finished the shift at Banbury, he got off in front of me. He was definitely the same man. He kept looking round at me. Seemed suspicious. I just went into the office and didn't see which way he went.
Estelle? Estelle, is that you in there? Estelle? Estelle? What's happened? Oh, come on.
I just feel awful that it's happened to a visitor to this country. But I feel it's very close to me because it's someone who lives in my house.
I would like this man because I would be really glad, yes. I don't want this to happen to someone else.
Do please call if you can help. Where did he come from? Is it Banbury? And who is he? He's mid-20s, average height, average build, with short dreadlocks. But most noticeably, he has a gap between his two front teeth. Maybe he uses the railway network regularly, maybe you recognise him. 0500 600 600. Or you can call officers in Leamington Spa. They're on 01 926 415 747. That's Leamington Spa 415 747. And now, here's Detective Constable Jackie Haines.
First, images that are crystal clear. They're all cases of deception. A man has been caught on camera several times. Someone must know who he is. He's been using stolen credit cards and building society passbooks across Yorkshire. In August last year, he made inquiries about an account in Pontefract. Later that same day, and using a stolen credit card, he tried to obtain several £100 worth of pesetas and French francs at the Bureau de Change in Thomas Cook, Castleford. 4 months later, in January this year, here he is in Leeds. This time he managed to draw out some money, but he wasn't so lucky in Castleford a month later in February. Once again he used a stolen passbook. Do stop him before he strikes again. 0500 600 600 is the studio number, or call the local police in Selby, North Yorkshire on 01904 669 612. That's Selby 669 612. Next, a man entering a building society branch in Keighley, Yorkshire. Again, a stolen passbook was used to draw out cash. The passbook came from Essex, but where does this man come from and who is he? 0500 600 600, or you can call the officer direct on 01245 452 120. That's 01245, which is the code for Chelmsford, 452 120.
Well, we're being inundated with calls on the attacks in Barry. It's possible there have been some other similar attacks in other parts of South Wales. Just getting some reports of that coming in. Lots of names, but interestingly, one name has come up twice so far. There's a good deal more information still coming in. It looks like we're going to have something quite positive on that as the evening goes on. Now for someone who's described as a bit of a ladies' man, though that's more than a little ironic. There's now an international arrest warrant out for him. That's for the attempted murder of a woman, though he's also wanted in connection with the murder of another. You may have read about it in the papers. Just before Christmas, Anne Fiddler was savagely attacked at her home in Eastleigh near Southampton. Then in February, and also on the Hampshire coast, Glenda Hoskins was found dead in her home in Port Solent on the outskirts of Portsmouth. She was a former girlfriend of the wanted man. Victor Farrant hasn't been seen since, unless you know otherwise. He's 46, about 6 foot. He can put on Irish and quite convincing upper-class English accents. He uses all sorts of names, including Charles Kelly, and likes to pretend he's a professional man, though he's much more likely to be working in a bar or on a building site. He has a liking for escort girls. He was last seen in Brussels. Now, police say he seems charming, but don't go near him. Simply call. The incident room is on 01 705 321 111. That's Portsmouth 321 111.
Well, every now and then there are scares about bogus social workers who go to people's homes and then try to make off with a child, usually a baby. There's been a spate of cases like this now in Wakefield in West Yorkshire, and we've got 3 e-fits to show you. Now, they could be 3 perceptions of the same person, or just possibly there could be 3 different offenders in the Wakefield district. Our film starts at the end of January.
My husband had gone to the post office with Oliver, and as I waved them off I thought, a bit of peace and quiet. I then heard a knock at the door. I opened the back door and the lady that was stood there actually said to me that we've had allegations that your partner's been sexually abusing your child. So I was in that much of a shock. I thought, good grief. And she actually stepped forward with her arms outstretched to take Joel. And without thinking, I obviously went forward with Joel myself. It suddenly dawned on me, I thought, what am I doing? My husband wouldn't do anything like that. And I know he hasn't actually done anything like that. She actually spoke with a Yorkshire accent, and I thought that her complexion was a lot older than her hair was. I personally thought it could have been a wig, it just didn't look right. And then I said to her, have you got your ID? We've got to take him. I said, have you got your ID? I said, I'm going to ring the police. So she said, well, ring the police. So I picked up the phone, dialed 999, and as I looked up, she'd gone. What frightens me the most is thinking that if I had been a bit slower, or taken me time to think about what she'd actually said, she would have actually taken him from my arms and she'd have been off. And who knows what might have happened.
Gemma, come here.
I can't get it. I can't race him up today. Don't see me now.
I'd been home about 20 minutes that day when a woman knocked on my door. Thankfully, Gemma was playing in a bedroom. I asked her who she was. She said she was a new health visitor. I asked her for some sort of identification, and she fumbled in her pockets and produced a blue diary. Then she asked to examine Gemma. By this point, I knew there was something strange going on, and I was determined that this woman wasn't going to get in my house. I started to lose my temper. I wanted to really get hold of her and bring her in the house and keep her in and phone the police, but I knew my daughter was in, so I pushed her down the steps. I was so annoyed. It was overwhelming, really. This is the sort of thing that you always think won't happen to you. It just happens to somebody else, never you. And it's like made me realise just how precious that she is, and life without her, I just can't imagine. I wouldn't want to think about it.
Well, those mothers were very fortunate, and so were the children there. 7 weeks later, there was another attempt to abduct a baby girl. That was from her home again in the Wakefield area, this time in Outwood, and that happened on Friday, the 22nd of March. Detective Inspector David Lister, what happened in that case?
On this occasion, the lady managed to get into the house by pretending to be a health visitor. Once she was in the house, she asked for the child, and in fact took hold of the child's dress by the collar. The mother realised that something was wrong, and she grabbed the child back, and as she did that, the suspect thumped her in the face and ran away.
Gracious me. Was there anything different about the woman's appearance that time?
This time, the description of the lady is that she had shoulder-length dyed blonde hair, which was wavy, and it appeared to be in a perm style which was growing out with the roots which showed dark.
Now, they all appear very different looking women, but do you think it is the same woman, or?
We're keeping an open mind on this. It could be three different women, but there are similarities between the circumstances and the descriptions. It's possible that it's the same woman who, between January and March, has managed to change her appearance somewhat by using wigs or other disguises.
I think the last one, the one with the shaggy growing out perm, I think it was called herself Karen?
She did. She called herself Karen. Obviously we don't know if that's her correct name or not.
What sort of age could these people be?
Well, the descriptions we've had is between 28 years and 50 years, and it might be the case that this is a woman who is really just young for her age, if it is one and the same person.
And obviously parents and children are going to feel a little bit vulnerable. What advice would you give if they are approached by someone who may or may not be a bona fide social worker?
The first thing I'd like to stress is that these type of offences are very, very rare. Most childcare professionals will call by appointment and will have identification. If somebody gets a call out of the blue and it's somebody they don't recognise, then they should always, before they let them anywhere near the house, ask for identification, ask why the person's calling, and if they're at all worried, then they should contact the organisation concerned or ring the police.
Well, David Lister, thank you very much. Let's hope that the perpetrator or perpetrators are apprehended as a result of this. If you can help with this case, because obviously it's extremely concerning for parents and children, do give us a call. 0500 600 600, that's a free call number. Or try the incident room in Wakefield, that's also a free call. That's 0800 318 001. 0800 318 001. Now here again is Superintendent David Hatcher.
Now to someone who goes to a lot of trouble to try to swindle car dealers. He arranges finance deals but then moves home as soon as he's got the car and disappears. Sometimes he goes for motorbikes. This man is being sought in connection with the crimes. He's John Paul Roberts and might use the names Paul Roberts, Nicholas James or David Chapman. It's thought he's been in the West Midlands, Bedfordshire and West Mercia, but where is he now? He may go to fitness clubs. 0500 600 600 is the number to call, or you can ring officers direct on 01905 723 888. That's Worcester 723 888. Next, some pictures from an Argos superstore. This one's in Swindon, Wiltshire. While the store assistant is distracted, two men break open the display cabinet and make off with gold bracelets. But who are they? They're easily identifiable. Incidentally, they have Irish accents. And who's the third man in the background? We're live and the lines are free on 0500 600 600, or you can call officers direct in Swindon on 01793 507 999. That's Swindon 507 999.
Now, a question we must all have asked ourselves sometime is, how would we react if we found ourselves witnessing a major crime? In our next case, one man, a travelling salesman, had the chance to find out. He drove into the middle of an armed robbery. And you might like to compare what he did with how you think you'd behave. It happened 8 weeks ago in the Woodley district of Stockport in Greater Manchester. Our film starts, though, 2 weeks earlier, inside a local betting shop.
The second last of all the top spinners, they go through the first furlong and a half. Heading now towards the second flight and the lead on the inside.
I was in the shop carrying out my normal duties on a Monday morning. Once two men walked in the shop that I'd seen earlier. When I arrived at work, they were outside the shop then, and they came in and just sat down with no intention of looking at any papers, any form. They weren't looking at the screens, at the prices available. Didn't ask for a cup of tea, coffee or anything. They just sat there, hardly spoke a word to each other, but seemed to be waiting for something. They were looking outside the door. Excuse me. Where they were sitting, they could see across the precinct. I kept my eye on them because they were in the shop for a good hour and a quarter or so, just sitting doing nothing.
Ready. 16 days later, Wednesday, February the 28th.
I like the job because you meet different types of people. That morning we got on the road. I remember once a particular thing. He was going to decide, although it was a busy day, it was going to be a non-stress day.
By mid-morning, the van was heading into Woodley. The quick-save car park just behind the TSB. And this is where our rep comes in. That morning, he was heading out of town.
I was on my way from Stockport to Hyde, and I do a lot of driving. I do about 45,000 miles a year. It's getting a bit tiring, really. Getting sick of it.
This bloke came running straight in to the bank. Straight away I could see that he was a bandit because he had his gun out. Run straight up to me, and he grabbed hold of me and pulled me out. I was just in total shock, thinking, why me?
Move! Move! Over! Open up! Open up! Open up! The ambulance driver requires assistance. Call the police. Security court driver requires assistance. Call the police.
Hello?
Security court
Operator,
driver
please, there's an armed robbery going on.
Call the police. Help!
Yeah.
Security court driver requires assistance. Help! Security court driver.
The adrenaline was pumping, I was on a high, and the brain was in gear. Then the brain said, well, hang around, these guys have got guns, keep your distance, which I did.
By the time he'd turned round, he'd lost the robbers in the back streets. This is a couple of minutes later, a quarter of a mile away.
I was working on my car, which I've been having a few problems with. Well, it's a car that I'd not seen there before, and when I looked at it, it was an Emirates. And I was just thinking at the time, somebody had been splashing out a bit of money somewhere, so I could do with Emirates myself. Oh, with that, I just went back to my job.
You okay, mate? You all right?
John, what's the most likely way of finding these guys, frankly?
Well, from my point of view, I'm sure that somebody tonight watching this programme will know the identity of the offenders. There is a substantial reward of £10,000. We would ask anyone who's watching this evening if they'd like to contact us. We'd be grateful to hear from them.
It looked from that sequence at the end as though one of them at least had a beard.
Well, that's right, but we do have a witness who was actually close to the scene who saw one of the offenders drop something, and he's convinced it was in fact a false beard.
Right. Now, obviously you've got to eliminate the guys in the betting shop who were seen there a couple of weeks before the robberies. I mean, they look strikingly similar to the robbers, but there's nothing else to connect them to the robbery.
That's correct. There are similarities in their age and their descriptions. What we would ask, if anyone recognises those two people who were in that betting office on the 12th of February, or if the persons themselves are watching the programme, if they could get in touch, purely and simply for elimination purposes.
Now, they weren't tall men, were they? One of them was about 5'6", only, something like that.
One was 5'5", 5'6". He's about 30 years of age, a male white, slim build. The other is younger. He's 18 to 20 years. Again, male white. He's slim build, but a little bit taller, about 5'6", 5'7".
Now, the vehicles used in the robbery, at least two of them were stolen. The Bedford Rascal, that sort of mustard-coloured thing, and that had a van. That had a sign on it when it was stolen.
The van had two magnetic signs on the sides. Those magnetic signs read Radcliffe, washers, vacs, lawnmowers, microwaves. Those signs have not been recovered. If anyone knows of their whereabouts, we'd love to hear from them.
Now, that Rascal and that VW Polo, that was the white vehicle, must have been stored somewhere for a few days before the robbery.
Yes, that's what we're really interested in. Those two vehicles were stolen between the 21st of February and the 25th of February. Those must have been stored somewhere from the 25th of February to the 28th.
And maybe were seen in conjunction with an M-registered red Golf.
Yes.
OK, now, one of those vehicles that was stolen had a number plate made up, false plate G259SLG. What can you tell us about that? Where is it from?
We've not been able to trace who actually made that number plate up. We're asking that if anyone in the motor trade is watching this evening, if they made the number plate up, if they could get in touch with us.
Now, tell me about the significance of this key. It says JMA on it.
Yes, that key was obviously cut and used by the person to actually steal the Volkswagen Polo. We'd be interested to know if anyone, again in the car trade, can recognise that key and actually cut it.
But can link it to something else, because obviously lots of people make keys like
this.
Well,
that's right.
Now, these pair of crash helmets, let me just show you one of these. This is a fairly straightforward crash helmet. You know where it comes from in Belgium. You want to know somebody who's got two of those or has had two of those. These were found at the scene of the crime.
What we're looking at doing is, from the viewers this evening, if they can link these crash helmets, the key, the registration plate, where these vehicles were actually located before the offence took place. That's what we're looking for.
Okay, please call. Detectives are here now, along with BBC researchers. You can ask for them if you prefer. It's a free call, 0500 600 600. If the lines are busy, try the incident room in Stockport. That's on 0161 856 9740. Manchester, 856 9740. Now again, here's Detective Constable Jackie Haines.
I have a smiling picture to show you, but sadly not a happy story. This is Malcolm Millman, who used to live in South Bank in Cleveland. Someone lured a young teenager to his house, ostensibly to babysit, but when she arrived, she was seriously sexually assaulted. Mr. Millman hasn't been seen since. We know that he uses lots of different names, including Newman and Pilkington. He may have contacts in London, but could be anywhere. Please call if you've seen him, 0500 600 600, or you can call the local police direct on 01642 301 940. That's Middlesbrough 301 940. This man has used the name Delroy Lynch. He disappeared last August, about the same time that Zoe, his wife, died from a stab wound. He lived in South London but arrived from Jamaica in 1993. He's average height but stocky with scars on his face and wrist. His street name in the area is Armstrong, but you might have come across him anywhere. If you have, call us or call the Murder Inquiry Room at Clapham on 0181 649 2531. That's 0181 649 2531.
Now, earlier we may not have given you enough time to take down the telephone number of the incident room in Portsmouth, if you know the whereabouts of Victor Farrant. Briefly, that number again is 01705 321 111. Now, we've had a lot of calls coming in on the attacks on elderly people in Barry. We've had the same name given twice. One viewer wants to put up a reward for information. We may have identified another 2 victims as well. In Leamington Spa, the indecent assault, a police officer has given a possible name, and 2 callers have given the same name of a man from Banbury. Now, if you're a jeweller, you might like to make a note of some serial numbers. They're all published in the Trade Journal, and we've put them on CFAX on page 614 as well. You'll want to keep away from the man who 5 weeks ago, on Saturday afternoon, the 30th of March, stole the rings from Moody's Jewellers in High Street, Crewe. Now, the gunman is in his 30s. He's medium height and medium build. Maybe the moustache and the goatee beard are real. It's hard to say, really, but maybe the glasses are a disguise. But he has taken few other precautions to stop people seeing who he is. He used a stolen car, this blue Astra taken from Chapel Street car park in Rugby the previous weekend. Did you see it parked somewhere? He tried to set fire to it off Walthall Street in Crewe, and a resident there saw him trying to hide his gun inside his coat. In fact, he was seen 5 days before the robbery. He'd gone to Moody's to check out the shop, pretending to want his Rolex watch serviced. Do you recognise him? Or do you recognise any of these distinctive rings which were stolen from the shop window? Do please call if you think you can identify the man. Incidentally, there is a reward here. The number is 0500 600 600, or you can call the incident room direct, and they're on 01244 612 999. That's 01244, the code for Chester, 612 999. And now, just to recap, here are some of the faces we've shown tonight. These men are wanted for robbery and theft. Do you know any of them? Or these 2 men, both of whom were seen with stolen goods. Where are they now? Or any of these, all of whom are wanted for deception. This man, seen top left and right, used a stolen credit card. Who is he? Bottom left, this man used a stolen passbook. Do you recognise him? And finally, bottom right, John Paul Roberts. Do you know where he is?
And that's all for this month. Here's the number for any of our cases, and you'll find local numbers as well as those jewellery details on CFAX on page 614. Or if you've any information on crimes we haven't covered ourselves, then try Crime Stoppers. They're on 0800 555 111. That's a free phone number, 0800 555 111. We'll be back with Crimewatch Update at 11:45. Please do join us then. And I hope we'll have news to make it worthwhile staying up. But if it's beyond your bedtime, we'll bring you up to date a month from now. That's on Thursday, the 23rd of May. Don't have nightmares, do sleep well. Good night.
Good night.